So let's talk about the immigrants in this video. And let's see if you actually know about everything I'm going to tell you. Who's running this country are elites. Biden's a puppet, yada, yada, yada. We've all heard it before. And so we have problems within the USA. Other countries have the same problem. And part of the problem is we have a lot of businesses, restaurants, McDonald's, Burger King, a lot of places that are short on workers. Americans don't want to work for cheap wages. They just can't pay the rent. The rents have gone up too high. I mean, they were already working 2 or 3 jobs. What are you going to expect them to do? Never sleep? They can't take a job that pays $4 an hour and then expect to get tips, unless they happen to be in some really ritzy place where people are tipping quite well. But overall, they can't afford to take those jobs. Now, because of what happened with the pandemic, all the restaurants have gone up in price. And I mean food, everything. And not only that, but wages. So what you used to pay, say, $40 for a meal is now $100. But everybody else's wages didn't go up. So that's the kind of catch-22, isn't it? You know, the person that was already making $30 an hour, their wages didn't go up, even though they upped the wages for the people in the restaurants up to 20. And that's the problem. So yes, the guy that's making 20 at McDonald's, he figures, oh boy, I got a raise. But no, he didn't get a raise because the price of food went up to offer to pay that wage. The guy that's making $30 an hour didn't have anything go up, so he's literally losing even more money. What was the point of the $30 an hour? He's going to pay more taxes and everything. It's a complicated mess. But I'm going to try and simplify this so you understand it a little bit better. The elites said they're short on people. They're going crazy with robotics, but it's too soon yet. It's going to take another 5 or 10 years. But they need them now. So what do? Biden sits down and is told by the elites to let the immigrants in. That's what he does. He ignores everything. He lets them cross the border. He lets them come across. Who knows? Maybe they made a deal with the guy in Texas. Texas said, hey, we're going to ship them to New York, being that they love him so much. Maybe he did it without even knowing. But it's supposed to be a state that helps people. Now they're overboard. They got over 300,000. The city's going broke. Now they're moving them to other cities, other Democratic cities. Pay attention to that word, Democrat. Because they are programming these immigrants to tell them the Democrats are who's helping you. Now they're talking about in New York to hand these immigrants a $1,000 food card. They're expecting to test it out of 500 of them to give them the type of food they want, is what they're saying. That's enough to set everybody off. What, they can't eat the food we give them? I mean, a lot of what they do is on purpose to make you angry. And that's what's going on. You'll notice when they first started bringing them over, they kept saying they can't work, right? And then they kept saying we need to give them an SSN number, a social security number, so they can work. Because without that, you can't work. Unless you work cash on the table and do it illegally, then you can be deported, right? Some of them were handed $1,000 checks, $1,000 card when they got off a bus. Some of them were handed $3,000. This was going on all over the place in New York. And then all of a sudden you'd see a radio station or you'd see the news saying, we've got 50 scooters out front. But nobody answered the question, how'd they get them? Well, they gave them $3,000 when they got off the bus. They went and bought one. There's no license on the back of them or anything. And off they went and delivered. And got paid their money for all those delivering apps. So now think about that, because those delivering apps are saying, we have a shortage of people. You had people on YouTube going to drive for Uber and every other thing saying, can you make money? They were figuring out their mileage, their gas, everything. And it came down to they were barely making ends meet by working for those companies. So the companies can't pay more. Uber can't pay more, because if they did, then the food prices would end up going up. I mean, by the time you got a ham sandwich, it'd be $100 because everything's so out of whack. But let's stay on subject here. So we've got a bunch of immigrants that have already fulfilled the market of delivery service, and they don't care what they're making, right? Now, They're sleeping on the streets. They're freezing. They have the odd accident where somebody gets in trouble or somebody dies. This is all orchestrated to happen this way. Because now they can scream at the federal government and say, see, you're not helping us. You need to approve an SSN number so they can go work and pay their own way. They want to work. There's catch 22 with that. If we give them an SSN number like everybody's saying, we now allow them to vote because that's what you need to vote. So now they can walk in and say, yes, I'm voting for Biden. I'm voting for the Democrats because they're the ones that helped me. We just put 300,000 to 400,000 people voting for Democrats. That's not real fair, is it? But that's going on. We have shortage of people all over the U.S. The U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, the forces are all short. They are short 40,000 people, and nobody wants to join. Nobody wants to join to go fight a war that a bunch of old men tell them to go fight and they die. It's not like World War II. It seems like every war they go and fight anymore, it's over oil or the spoils of war. It's not about protecting anybody or freedom. So the younger generation ain't joining. Doesn't matter how much recruiting they do. So now they're passing a bill that says those illegal immigrants can now join the armed forces and earn their way to a citizenship. I thought that was pretty interesting too, because we just fulfilled that gap, didn't we? When I was in Canada, and I was in my 20s, I lived along the border of the United States. I actually crossed into the border of the United States, and I actually walked into a recruiting office and asked him if I could join. The guy told me straight up, he says, if we were still at war at Vietnam, he says, we would have took you right away. He says, but now we don't have anything really going on. We can't do that right now due to the treaty we have with Canada. Because Canada, you couldn't get in the armed forces. It wasn't big enough for them to even take anybody. But that's what I was told. So now here's another thing. So we got 40,000, we got 40,000, we got 350,000 immigrants, 300,000, 400,000, whatever, that they can earn their citizenship by joining the armed forces. Problem. The majority of them don't have grade 12. So then they're sitting there at their desk and go, well, how do we fix this? Well, that's easy. Let's remove the requirement of grade 12, which they've done. So now anybody can join that doesn't have a grade 12, which is the illegal immigrants they're concentrating on. So they're going to fill that 40,000 gap very quickly. Here's your citizenship. Here's your grade, as long as you don't die. All right? Make you wonder what's coming, wouldn't it? And just to take it up on a side note a little bit, Britain's over there discussing whether or not they should bring in their draft, is what they're doing. They think they're going to war against Russia. All these countries are doing this. It's like they know something we don't know. So, think about this. They found a way to bring in immigrants to work at these dead-end jobs that will work for pretty much nothing, so that way you can get your $4 Big Mac. And they found a way where they can be driving Uber and delivering for pennies on a dollar. And they found a way for them to join the armed forces. So this way we're fulfilling what's required to keep this country safe. Pretty cool, huh? Now, none of these illegal immigrants are being checked. Okay, they've got immigrants hitting cops, beating cops, kicking cops. That's what they do in their own country. We've got immigrant gangs coming over. You don't see the news talking about that. You want to look up something, look up Venezuela prostitution. Go look that up. You will find show after show on YouTube where they talk about 14-year-olds that are on the street peddling for money. That's how poor that country is. But yet, we say in our country we're against this trafficking, right? Well, how are we stopping that? We're allowing them to bring the trafficking in. Those 14-year-olds that the mothers have on their hips, how do we know that's their child? We don't. This could be an entire facade where this old lady walks in with this 14-year-old, and then she meets up with the pimp later, and he's got her out in the street doing what she needs to do for cash money. This is all gang-related. You don't think they're taking advantage of that? You can call them cartel, you can call them whatever you want. But yeah, sure, they do drugs, they do all kinds of things that are illegal. None of it's legal. You don't think they're bringing in these young girls and they're running this on the side and nobody knows about it? I've recently seen that they want curfews on these places that these people are staying at. Why? Why aren't they saying why? I mean, they're all of age. You know, if you really think about it, if you were going to bring somebody into a country and especially how uneducated they are and how poor they are and how lack of English and how communication is, I mean, hard enough to come all the way here, but now to actually blend themselves into society and actually work, that would be pretty hard. And literally, to do it properly, you would have to have some place already set up, like a compound, like whatever, with apartments. And the objective is once they come in, well, now you're going to go there, you're going to live there, we're going to teach you English, we're going to get you your grade 12, we're going to get you up to standard to where you need to be and to understand what it's like to live here. Because when they hear land of the free, it's not as free as they think it is. It takes a while to learn that. But they're not ready for what's going to happen when they get released into society. When they had Italians come to Canada, none of them spoke English. They all spoke Italian. And the majority of them were bricklayers and construction workers. They'd already done that in their own country, and they made good wine. Well, you made good money laying brick. You still today. You made good money when you worked in concrete. You still do today. They came with a trade under their belt. They had a skill. What is the skill that these immigrants are coming here with? Legal immigrants. How to steal? How to beat a cop? How to prostitute a child? Where is their skill? You know, there's nobody taking pictures. There's nobody taking fingerprints. There's nobody running these. They don't even know if they belong to gangs. And not only is this going on, but New York City is lacking in police force. They're cutting corners. So they can't even do their job and start tabulating and computerizing these people to put them where they belong. There just ain't enough people. In other words, if you want to simplify this, I mean, it's all about getting Biden votes. It's all about giving the elite their slaves for workers. It's all about fulfilling everybody that's lacking people. And that's where they're at right now. So this is a big ordeal for companies, for Biden. It's not a bigger deal for you. Because sooner or later, these people will move into the position of stealing your jobs. It's bad enough the robots are going to steal your jobs. But now you're going to have these guys moving in, stealing the truck driving jobs and all these other jobs. And they don't say no. They don't care if something's illegal. Boss says, oh, you've been driving 12 hours already? It's okay, I'll do another 12. They don't care. And that's the problem. Nobody's informed them about what are your consequences, what's going to happen. I mean, that one guy had hit that cop, and then a bunch of others started kicking that cop. I mean, they all probably thought, well, it's no big deal. We do that in our country. Because they don't know what we do in our country. So now they're going to go to jail. They're going to make examples of them to tell the other illegal immigrants, you don't want to do this shit. So those 5, 6, 7 people are going to go to jail for a good 10 years, if not more. They're going to learn a hard lesson to teach everybody else. Did anybody give them a pamphlet when they entered the country? Did anybody give them a welcome wagon and say, look, this is stuff you can't do, don't do it? You know, they didn't. You only got to be thrown outside inside a tent and start freezing your ass off for so long until you see the one guy down, the guy 2 tents down from you, jumping on his little scooter and delivering pizzas and say, hey, he's got money in his pocket and he's got a little heater in his tent. I want a heater in my tent. So you're going to go jump on that scooter. You're going to deliver some pizza. You're going to come home to your wife or girlfriend and you say, I got us a heater, man. And she's going to be so proud of her man. They're not looking for a lot because they had nothing in their own countries. I mean, they took their own 14-year-olds and prostituted them. They would sell them. If you understand more about the country of Venezuela, you would see how dangerous it is with these people coming here. And you can count your stars. The cartel have got their fingers in here. If all of a sudden I started seeing immigrants in the school my kids were in, I would take them out. I'd homeschool right away. You don't want your family around those type of people. Sounds mean to say, and maybe I'm talking out because people are too scared to say it. But there are good people, there are bad people, period. And if your kids hang out with bad people, they pick up their traits and your kids go down the wrong road. And the next thing you know, you got a fucking mess. You want to give your kid every bit of protection you can to give them that good start. Now, if they screwed up later, that's their fault. But if you've given them everything they can, from a good education to good kids in school to everything, the people around them, their peers, boom, they got a good chance of making it. But now, not all illegal immigrants, as we like to say, are bad. But we're not doing anything to verify this. Like I said, if they're going to bring them in, okay, do what you're going to do. You're going to bring them in, bring them in. But fingerprint them, picture them, write down their information where they can, and keep a computer of this. Because you could have a murder scene that's going to pop up, and if you don't got their fingerprints or anything, how are you going to know who did it? People say, well, they haven't done anything illegally. I don't give a shit. They're not Americans. They are not citizens. They have no rights. When I first came to this country, I had no rights. None. It cost me over $20,000 to become a citizen of this country. I've been here over 20 years, is what it cost me. I didn't get to come across the border, walk in, and everybody give me $1,000 food cards and everything. I didn't get shit when I came over. They didn't allow me to work, and they were checking on me. I had them actually coming to my house checking on me. They didn't need a warrant. They didn't need nothing. They actually just walked in. Didn't matter if you're on the couch nude or in the bed. I never seen anything like it. They would actually check my computer I had sitting there because they knew I was a computer programmer, and they were going through my computer to see if I was working on the computer. They weren't all that bright, but they tried. I just thought it was something else. But I didn't get no free room, no $1,000 card for food every month. I didn't get no $3,000 card when I got off the bus. I didn't get nothing. I came here with like 10K, and that's Canadian. Convert that, 8K American, whatever. I mean, and then in the end, I say 20 grand. It could have been 22, could have been 18. I mean, it was around there. It was over a period of 3 years. It was constantly ticketing me on a constant basis. And if I tell you the stories I went through, you'd just shake your head. And most of it was a money grab. But you have to understand, these immigrants don't have grade 12. They have very little education. They come from a very corrupt society. And we're interested in introducing them into a society and expect them to be decent citizens. No. And Biden sits over there on top of his desk at the White House acting like he's doing something when it's all a bunch of smoke screen, when Texas is over there fighting left, right, and center. And he's acting like it's all okay. He's giving the elite what he wants. That's it. Whoever voted for Biden, that's what you voted in. It didn't take a rocket scientist to see what's going on. At one time, Democrats were known for helping the poor, literally. The elderly who only get $600 a month, the disabled people that only get $600 a month. I mean, they were there usually raising those incomes. Hasn't happened in so long. Biden's not there for the people. Biden's there for himself. He just wants his name president on the encyclopedia before he dies. He don't care what he does. How many you want? 800,000 immigrants? Okay, we'll get them here. Make sure my name goes on there. I mean, just look at when he was first elected. First lesbian speaker, first tranny this, first black person this. I mean, the whole setup he did was nothing but, I want to be the first of everything. That's all it was. It wasn't, I want to run the country, or I want to help the people, or I want to make a stand. I want the people to respect me. It doesn't exist. I don't think it's ever existed with any president. A lot of people yell Trump. I got reserves about him, but I would really have to do a lot more research before I actually talk about him. Although I did vote for him, but I do have reserves about him. And I did not vote for Biden at all, just so you know. Tennessee is where I live. Tennessee is a Republican state. It doesn't matter who I vote for. Who's ever Republican is going to win. That's it. because there ain't very many Democrats in this state. This state is known for it. So even if I don't vote, it still goes Republican. That's it. But there's more to these immigrants than you know. It's all about getting workers in these restaurants for these elites that have big investments. It's all about getting more army, 40,000 of them they need in the armed forces. It's there's agendas there, nothing more. And that is very interesting. But nobody's talking about the news. Don't talk about that. They're just like, oh, the poor little illegal immigrants are starving. Look at them. They're not starving. Our homeless get less care than them. Our elderly get less care than them. They got so many churches in New York handing them food left, right, and center. It's unbelievable. They're living in 5-star motels. Your average American probably hasn't even been in a 5-star motel. Never mind the homeless they neglected. Now all of a sudden people started yelling about the homeless in New York and they're, oh, let's get them somewhere. Get them in a motel. It makes us look bad. You care now, but you didn't care 5 years ago. It's all agendas, nothing more. They make laws saying that the United States is against trafficking. If that was true, then every one of those girls that are coming across that border under 18 years old are being checked out thoroughly and finding out what's going on. And they're keeping an eye on them. But I don't think they are. I think you've got thousands of these young girls sneaking across the border like this, and the cartel or their pimps or whoever's running them are now being trafficked in the United States, is what's going on. Mark my words. And you don't see any freaking news service talking about that. All you got to do is look at Venezuela videos and see what their life's like. They're going to bring that life here because that's the life they know. And this whole thing was set up of whoever is controlling Biden. That would be nice to know because we want to blame Biden. Biden's the guy we're going to blame. He's the guy who falls down the stairs. We're going to blame him. I want to know who's the ones controlling him. Which one? Is it the McDonald's guy? Is it Burger King CEO? Is it some other CEO? Who is controlling Biden? Because that's the son of a bitch we need to blame. Because all he cares about is his pocketbook and not the American people. And obviously, Biden doesn't care. I can't believe I still see people in chat talking how good Biden is and they're going to reelect him. I'm like, are your eyes open? Is there something wrong with you? I mean, it just blows me away. It's just like, I guess he's an old man that falls over all the time. They feel bad for him. I don't know. I don't think we should elect anybody that's over 70 years old. I don't see how they even got their faculties about them to run a country. You ever notice when it comes to the Senate and presidents and congressmen and all these people up there, they don't have any rules against them at all? They're not forced to retire at a certain age. They could have cancer and still be walking with 2 people holding them up, and they still got I got to stay. I'm going to help the country. I mean, it's a laugh. And it just continuously goes on. Hell, they take a vote and they say, yep, it's time for us to get a raise. Look at what happened. The recession happened. My God, we're paying $20 for a steak. We can't have that. So they all sit down and say, are we voting for us to have a raise? Oh, yes, let's vote for that. And we sit there and we watch it on TV and we're like, oh, look at that. They voted themselves a raise. Can you vote yourself a raise? Really, really messed up. But these illegal immigrants, and that's what they are illegal. You hear the news say immigrant. No, they are illegal. They are here illegally. And they're allowing them to walk across that border. They are illegal. And they're not creating any form of database whatsoever. They are bringing cartel over. They are bringing prostitutes over. They are bringing dealers over. They are bringing the bad of the worst. And you might get a small percentage in there of some decent people that really want to work. But they're not trying to find out who they are. They just want the numbers coming in. I don't know if they all 40,000 will join the armed forces, what that would do. But I see a big mess coming, is what I see. Because it seems like there's more agendas. What else are they going to have these illegal immigrants they want to do? And they can do whatever they want, I guess. I want to know how I sign up for $1,000 a month food card. I mean, if they get it, I should get it too. I think every American should get that because groceries have doubled, right? Why don't we do a test program with them? Hell, take care of the Americans. Give us all $1,000 to help us with the groceries. You ended up upping the costs over there. Our gas was great when Trump was in. Look what they did. He's crucifying us. I think the only way he sees out is he's trying to pull Putin into a war because then he looks like, and then he gets to stay president longer. I mean, oh, the mess we weave. When you start thinking about this, it'll blow your brain away. It'll send you down 20 different roads here, 20 different roads here. Then you go and research those, and then you research those. And by the time you all come back, you're going to be like, okay, I know why they did that, but why are they doing this? Then that one goes off 20 different ways. And you just get more and more and more confused as you start to look at it. But there's one thing that applies. Ukraine, for example, was a war on money. Somebody's lining their pockets because there are a bunch of Nazis over there. And they're not very educated either. So then we're bringing in immigrants from Venezuela where 14-year-olds are used as prostitutes. But they're not going to do that here. No, this is the good life here. Yeah, sure it is. How many of those 18-year-old girls that are coming over are looking at an OnlyFans right now? And how many people are going to be preying on those young girls to open an OnlyFans? You only got to starve for so long and freeze for so long until you start saying, I don't give a shit what I got to do. I want to make some money. But there's a lot of different directions this is all going to go with these illegal immigrants. And one thing's for sure, it's not good for Americans. There's nothing good about it at all. Catch you guys on the next one.